Hey everyone, Shaun Gladney here with the Warrior Drumline. Thanks for checking out the 5th video in our series of fundamentals for the battery. In the previous 2 videos we talked about the different stroke types and how they relate to stick heights and dynamics and volumes, and we talked a little bit about accents and taps, but we didn't really explain what all that meant. In this video we're going to talk accents, taps, and define those, as well as talk about how dynamics and stick heights relate. We'll also briefly discuss how playing zones and different sounds correlate to dynamics. First, in the marching band setting, in the drumline world, in that rudimental drumming world, we talk about accents and taps. Everyone's seen the accent articulation over a note before. In the concert band setting, we typically say that just means to emphasize the note a little bit more. In drumline, we're going to define that a little differently. An accent is any note that has an accent articulation on it. A tap is any other note that doesn't have an accent. That can be a flam, that can be a diddle, that can be a buzz, that can be a drag, that can be any other note. As long as it doesn't have an accent on it, it's considered a tap. Okay, so what does that mean? An accent is going to be played at whatever dynamic we have written. A tap is pretty much always going to be played at the piano volume, which is going to be 3 inches. So for example, if we have a written dynamic of forte, anytime we see an accent over a note, that note will actually be played at forte, which is going to be 12 inches. Every other note is going to be played at piano, or a tap height, or 3 inches. That's how we get the contrast in drumming to make drumming musical. That's how we kind of get the groove to happen. Most of our notes are going to be taps in 3 inches. The accents are going to be the special things that create the difference there. Okay, so I said some heights. What does that mean? In the drumline setting, we refer to dynamics as stick heights. That's so that not only can we sound the same, but we can look the same player to player in a drumline. So we refer to dynamic levels, the standard dynamic levels that are written in your part, at different stick heights. So we'll start with piano. Piano's height is 3 inches. So if I'm in my playing position and I were to just make my sticks flat instead of having a downward angle, that's roughly 3 inches. That's our piano height. That's our standard tap height as well. Taps are going to be piano at 3 inches. Then as we move up in dynamic levels, we're going to just use multiples of 3. So piano is 3, mezzo piano is 6, mezzo forte is 9, forte is 12, and then fortissimo is 15, which we have to start using a little bit of arm to move our wrist there. Again, make sure that stroke starts from the wrist and we just use the arm to help get us a little bit more height. We also have pianissimo, which is 2 Ps, and that can be 1 inch, and that's pretty much at our playing position. It's pretty soft. Again, start to memorize these. Piano 3, mezzo piano 6, mezzo forte 9, forte 12, fortissimo 15. It's important to remember that we may use different areas of the drum for different sounds, but we don't use them for changes in volume. So we can play at the edge of our drum, which gets a little thinner sound and is naturally quieter. We do not cheat and go to the edge every time we play piano though. We can play piano directly in the center of the head and get the sound that we want and just play it softer. We will move to the edge for a different quality of sound, but we don't move around the drum to change dynamics. That is used in some cases, but in the drumline setting, we're going to define when we want the edge versus when we want the center. Additionally, we have rim shots, where you hit the rim and the drum at the same time, get that good pop sound. That, again, is just a change in sound quality, not a change in volume. So rim shots are still at whatever dynamic level is written. We can play rim shots at mezzo forte or mezzo piano. It doesn't mean that every rim shot you see doesn't always have to be 15 inches fortissimo. So again, rim shots, changing position on the drum is just for a change of sound quality versus a change in dynamics. As you practice your stroke types, think about the different heights and think about how accents and taps are going to relate there. That is how we make drumming musical, and it's a very important concept. So I want you to spend a lot of time working on accents, taps, and mastering your stick height.